Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a whiskey subscription service called Whiskey Me. Now this is not a paid ad. I've genuinely spent my own money on this subscription service and this is what I got for my first month's subscription. Now the subscription is pretty simple. You can choose to have either 1 or 2 pouches of whiskey per month. Each one costs around £8 per pouch. It varies slightly depending on which one you go for. But on the whole I paid just less than 16 quid for 2 pouches a month. One of them is guaranteed to be Scotch, I believe, because one of them is all about Scotch whisky, and then the other one's kind of broader world whiskies, anything else basically. Now, first off, the red herring here is there's 3 pouches sat in front of me, and that is for a very good reason, and that is that because this one was free. I'm not lying, they genuinely just sent me an extra pouch for free. Now the reason for that is they're a growing service, and every time they hit a milestone in terms of their subscribers, they send you free gifts, which is awesome. I didn't know about this or expect it. I just opened it and there was 3 there. I was like, what's going on? And then, well, that was why. So yeah, today we're going to be taking a look at the package as a whole, trying these 3 whiskies and trying to work out, well, is it worth it? And I should probably have done this a few weeks ago when these arrived, so I know whether to cancel or not for next time. But, well, let's hope not. Right, let's get into it. So the first whiskey today is going to be this one, and this is Brenne, an estate cask. It's a French single malt whiskey, 40%, and it tastes like, it looks like nectarines, croissants, and a lollipop. So yeah, let's find out. All of these come in 6 centilitre pouches. There's 2.4 units in this pouch. Here's a quick look at it. They're kind of funky. Some more info on the back there we'll talk about in a bit. Let's get it open. Right, how fiddly are these? Oh no, that opened up super nice and easy. Freshly washed Glencairn glass. It's a very pale whiskey. That's about half of it, I reckon. Already, the aroma is actually really appetizing. It's got a light, floral, but sweet, distinctly fancy dessert thing going on with it. In the glass, as I say, it's a really pale, super light straw colour, and it's got some legs. I didn't think it did at first. You do excuse the water spots, as this is a very, very freshly washed glass. But if I swirl this around, there you go. You can see it has some legs. That aroma just continues. This is, well, really not what I expected. I've never had a French whiskey before, and this, oh, that smells sublime. It's really sweet. It smells like a confectionery shop. It's got that butteriness, which I assume is the kind of the croissant. It's got the fruit aromas. It said apricot or nectarine on the front, but it's slightly more floral, fresh. It's a bit of an amalgamation of kind of sweeter stone fruit, and yeah, it's got a real candy shop vibe to it. So let's try it. Cheers. Wow. I did bring with me a 4th glass filled with water just to splash in if we needed to open the flavours up a little bit, but that is not needed. This is delightful. There's a few things wrong with it. I'm not a whiskey expert, as I'm sure many of you know, but I do like whiskey, and this is just my interpretation. It's super sweet, reminiscent of cognac, brandy, not in the taste profile, but in how you enjoy it. It's got that warming, non-abrasive, sweet edge, and it's just, wow. I think a bottle of that just went on the shopping list. It is phenomenally easy to drink. It's properly delicious, and the only thing I will say is that the depth of flavour isn't great, as in there's not a lot of it. It's super enjoyable, incredible entry whiskey, which is what I've been looking for a lot on my whiskey journey so far. But this has, I don't know what to say, it's got huge sweetness throughout, nice fruity quality, that delicious buttery thing, but they're all just kind of skipping along the top, and there's not a big aftertaste. There's not heaps to enjoy once you put the glass down. You drink a lot of it very, very quickly, is what I'm going to say. And as a result, and given that I've got two more to get through, we are indeed going to put this down now and move on to the others. But I'm glad I did that first because I suspect the other two are going to dominate quite a lot compared to this one. Right, quick palate cleanser done, and now on to number 2. This is Speyburn 15-year-old, so fairly confident this is going to be a Speyside whiskey, which excites me a lot. It's 46%, so I believe that is properly cask strength. And the taste light notes, they just come with little icons. Let me show you the pack there. So it doesn't give you specifics. They do send out lots of tasting notes with these, which we'll look at after this. But yeah, so this tastes like orange or citrus fruit, candy, and a pestle and mortar. I assume that means more spices, but, well, let's find out. So, Speyburn in the glass, loads darker than the previous one. I'd call that a properly gold coloured whiskey. Certainly in beer terms, that would be golden ale territory. And there wasn't a lot of an aroma when opening it up, but it's got heaps and heaps once you get your nose in there. It's deep, much deeper than the Brenne. It's got a sweetness to it, but also being that bit stronger has quite an upfront alcohol kick. It's really prickling away at the nose buds, to be honest. It's I wouldn't say it was peaty, but it's slightly smoky. I think actually, rather than smoky, it's peppery. It's got that zizz of spice in there that again is really attacking the nasal passage. It's yeah, I'm struggling to pick out much more from that other than kind of a big strong flavour, heaps of booze and heaps of that spicy peppery yeah thing. So let's get into it. Cheers. Okay, nowhere near as savage on the taste. It's definitely deep. It has got a lot of character. It's got sweetness, but it's so brilliantly balanced. It's got lots of stuff going on. Big hit with that peppery, spicy thing. Loads of booze, obviously, it's 46%. But the sweetness rounds it out. And actually, what I thought might be quite a difficult beginner whiskey, I am still a beginner, actually, that's really enjoyable. What I am going to do with this one, though, is add the tiniest splash of water just to see what happens if it opens those flavours out at all. This is not the scientific method. That'll do. Let's get that incorporated. The aroma is sweetened up slightly as a result of that. Now we can start to appreciate a few more of the subtle flavours. There is a sweet candy vibe, but also now, with the water added, getting a bit of a caramel lick. But the spice element to this is what makes it really interesting because it's quite abrasive on the nose. You take the whiskey in, it's sweet, and then just as you swallow it, you get a bit of a kick that goes, oh, that's warm, could be intense, but it's really short-lived, which makes it just gives it another element without being over the top. Again, as you can tell, I'm pretty impressed. And finally, Big Peat. This one concerns me a little bit. Big, heavy, smoky peated whiskey's just not my thing. It's from Islay, not Islay, as I foolishly said in a previous video about something from the Isle of Islay. It's a blended malt whiskey, this one. It's 46% again, so cask strength. And the taste like on this, and it's trying to interpret their notes, this looks like seashells or mussels or something like that. Dirt, apparently, presumably that's peat, and some tiny little eggs. I don't know what that one's meant to be, but I'm sure we'll find out later in the tasting notes. You can smell this one when you open it. Yeah, you got that peaty aroma straight away. Have they pranked me and just filled this with water? That is very pale. In the glass then, I mean, it's got a hint of colour to it. It's almost clear. It's really quite impressive. I mean, there's distilled and then there's that. Wow. Okay. Aromas. Ooh, that that worries me. Just my own personal preferences. That is a similar experience to cleaning out a wood fire. It's got so much earthiness, so much sooty quality to it that really, wow. I mean, yeah, if you like licking burnt charcoal, this may be one for you. Let's just try it, shall we? Cheers. The aroma wasn't very alcohol forward despite being 46%. The flavour, however, is it's very peaty. I can feel it burning away already. This is going to give me indigestion without a doubt. All I can really say, because it's not a style of whiskey that I particularly enjoy, is that it has a quality about it. It doesn't feel like something that's been cheaply produced, which I don't think any of the whiskies they send out are. This one is a blend, and it's in the aftertaste. I'm really picking up on that kind of mussel, mollusk, sea food kind of sensation. Slightly salty, just a tiny bit, with a bit of a nondescript fishy protein sensation. It's really quite odd. It doesn't sound particularly appealing, but actually I think it's an interesting flavour profile, and I'd love to try it without so much peat quality. I am going to put a splash of water into this, not that we'll be able to tell based on the colour in the glass, of course, just to see if it helps. I probably added a little bit much in this one, if I'm honest, but hey, it's probably not going to make a lot of difference to me. So the aroma hasn't really changed at all. That is now very watered down. I can appreciate it a bit more in this format, but it's just dominated, as you would expect from the name, by masses of earthy peat and peat smoke. That really is all it's about. And, well, to be honest, if you like that style of whiskey, actually, I think you'll love it, to be honest. It's good, it's just not my bag. So here is all the stuff they sent me along with these whiskies, tasting notes and information. So let's quickly go through that. So let's do them in order. So first, the Brenne. On the front of this, it says estate cask, 40%. Location is Cognac, France. Remember what I said earlier? That's interesting. So the age is NAS, 6 years minimum. I'm not actually sure what NAS stands for, but not aged, not maybe non-age signified or something. So the whiskey info says Brenne Estate Cask is twice distilled in a copper alembic still and aged for a minimum of 6 years in French oak casks. The whiskey has perfumed fruit and French patisserie aromas with creamy and complex sugar notes reminiscent of a sweet shop. That it certainly is. Tastes like, and this is what their interpretation was with those little icons, apricot pastry and a lollipop. So yeah, we've got those right. It says it's great with an almond croissant, maybe a bit early in the morning, orange soda or a creme brulee. That with a creme brulee would finish a meal off unbelievably. Absolutely. There's also some distillery info on the back, but I'm sure you can go and read up about them if you wanted to. Brenne is, of course, the distillery. Next up, Speyburn. So 15-year-old, 46%. It's from Roth's in Speyside. It's 15 years old, and the cask is Spanish and ex-bourbon. I picked out some vanilla notes in there, I believe, and yes, it is. So that explains that. Whiskey info on this is the Speyburn 15 is matured in a combination of Spanish and American ex-bourbon oak, and it happens to be the American market that buys the lion's share of the Speyburn single malt. The flavour here is a rich combination of fruit, toffee, vanilla, and spice that is difficult to fault. It tastes like citrus, a penny toffee, and spice. It says it's great with carrot cake, chocolate truffles, and wheat beer. Interesting. Might need to team that up with some wheat beer. I don't have any right now, but I'll get some. The only thing that I didn't really get there was the citrus. So I'm going to come back to this and just see. When you're thinking about it, sure, it kind of merges with that toffee sweet shop thing, and it kind of becomes its own just slightly fruited sweet experience. The spice then takes over so quickly that you don't get a lot of it, but when you're focused on it right up front, yes, there absolutely is. And finally, Big Peat. It's from Islay, the age is non-defined, the cask is various, and it says Big Peat is a small batch blended malt produced by Douglas Laying and bottled without colouring or chill filtration. Needless to say, it's peaty, but this whisky possesses an endearing sweetness alongside earth and smoke. We also detect cranked single and dark chocolate. It tastes like seashells, peat, and truffles. They were the little eggs, the truffles. I'll be honest, I didn't get a lot of chocolate out of that, but again, I'm so susceptible to that big peaty thing that it's probably just not for me. It says it's great with dark chocolate, fudge ice cream, strong cheddar, and a windy walk. Yeah, I can appreciate that. It also came with a bit of a promo leaflet for the Big Peat. I'm not going to go through all of it, but it does say it's available now in Waitrose and specialised spirits retailers and online. There you go. So they are the whiskies that I received, now all tasted. Absolutely love the French one. Probably going to buy it, although I could do with it being just a little bit more complex. And to be honest, the Speyside one, yeah, it was very, very enjoyable. I'd probably order it. Would I buy a bottle? Maybe. Maybe. I need to sit with it for a bit longer to really determine, but enjoyed it. The Big Peat, we knew it wasn't going to be for me, but nonetheless, it's very well put together. And if you're into your big, heavily smoke peated whiskies, you probably love it. As for Whiskey Me, is it worth it? So far, yeah, because the only one I didn't like was the one that was a freebie, so I can't really complain at that. They were fantastic. Looking forward to my April order. These were the March 2022 editions. So yeah, can't come soon enough. And that really is all I have to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.